Well, hello guys. As usual, I'm Ubaji Seka Bakar. And so quickly today, I want to give a brief review of the novel, Nilanjana's novel, titled "Quiet Screams to the Quiet Healer." It's going to be very brief. You can read the full review on my blog, literaturescorner.com, literaturescorner.blogspot.com. So, what is this novel about? Actually, it's an Indian novel, but most of the issues captured in the novel are not only pertinent to the Indian society. It also reflects on general society, general human society as a whole. So, and it has to do with the relationship between the parent and their children. So, and in this novel, there are several ways we see the conflict between the parents and the children. So the novel is actually about Sanjana, a little girl in a small Indian village, who grows up to see her mother being severely abused by her father, who never misses the slightest opportunity to snap at his wife, especially in front of people, in front of visitors and other family members. So Sanjana was discouraged by this attitude of the father. It's at any slight opportunity. It may be something like maybe there isn't enough food, and there isn't enough salt in the food, or maybe his socks. He wakes up in the morning and while looking for his socks, he can't find them. He gets angry easily, and the next thing he just swipe at his wife. So, being the daughter and the only daughter in the home, Sanjana was not too happy with the situation of things. She sought to escape. She sought an escape, and in three ways. First, she started writing about her experiences, her terrible experiences in a diary, which she named Fanny. She personalized the diary and uses that as a way of interacting with herself. She tries to find explanations for some of the things that are happening at home, try to understand or to correct the major problem why the violence keeps occurring. And secondly, she also tries to study to study her books, so that will take her mind off what is happening in her home. And thirdly, she she goes to the home of a friend, Kruti. And I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Forgive me if it's the wrong pronunciation. But she's named Kruti in the novel, a friend, and they grew up together in the same village. And but Kruti also has her own problem. Her father has a kidney problem, and he needs a kidney transplant, which could not be done. They needed money. The family needed money to effect the treatment, but this could not be achieved because the family did not have the money, the wherewithal to carry out the treatment for the father, the kidney transplant. So, but however, the two girls enjoy the company of each other. They each help to take their mind off the problem they were facing in their various homes, and that is the way she escapes. In the within a short while, the two girls befriend an old man. They become friends with an old man who they know as Grandpa. Grandpa, surprisingly or magically, appears at their times of need to pull them out of troubled waters, so to speak. So his destiny was quite linked to that of the girls. Whenever the girls are in trouble, she is somehow gets to know about it and appears at the right time to clear them off, to clear the trouble away from where they are. So they formed a fond relationship with Grandpa. But what their parents know of Grandpa is quite different from what they know, because what their parents know of Grandpa is they know him as a thug, as a violent person. So they wouldn't want their children to associate with him. But Grandpa is a changed person, and he wants the company of these children. As time goes on, Sanjana, based on the trouble she faced at home, she was able to fight. She was able to stand up for others in life who are facing the same challenge. And our first move was to protect our friend Kruti from being punished unnecessarily. And also she was able to face her father at a certain point in time and ask him, why are you doing this? Why do you like to see mom suffer and crying? You know, and at that point she realizes that you have to face your fears, you have to make a change, you have to confront, you have to create that conversation between yourself and your parents. So from there she grows up into a doctor, and after that she meets with people who have these challenges in life, who are beaten when they were young, and it is having psychological effect on their lifestyle and the way they behave. So most of these characters will come to meet with them, and it doesn't just have to do with domestic violence. Some of them are facing issue of Vivek. Vivek is a character in the novel whose father divorced the mother, and this caused a kind of emotional imbalance or psychological imbalance in the child. And at a point in time, he had to confront his father when he was urged, after he was urged by Sanjana to do so. So we see that how divorce affects the child. We also see parents forcing their will on their children. They want their children to study what they choose. They want their children to marry who they want their child to get married to. And this has a terrible effect on the child. Like Arav, who was supposed to get married to Kruti, but the uncle wanted him to marry another girl from a rich family. So it created some kind of friction in the story. And also remember the story of Aditya, Sanjana's cousin, who also wanted to be a plane engineer, but the parent forced him to become a doctor. So they wanted him to study to become a doctor, but at the end of the day, he would later achieve his dream based on the prophecy we see at the end of the novel. But we get to see this friction between the parents and the children. So the novel is quite important because it looks at what the connection or the disconnect between the parent and the children. Parents most time think that children don't have a mind of their own. They need to be dictated to. They need to be told what to do and how to think, even, or what steps to take in life, without trying to look at the child's perspective, the children's perspective. As parents, you have to look at what your child is good at, what your child wants for himself or herself. Then look for how you can balance the equation between your own wish for the child and what the child wishes for himself. So a character like Aditya could not follow his dreams, and it cost him psychological imbalance. So we see many of these characters there, and Sanjana was there to help because she on her own also faced the same domestic problem in her domain. So she was trying to see how they could scale through this problem without any terrible boomerang effect or something like that. So she was always encouraging them to create conversation, create a dialogue between their parents and themselves, who are the children. So that is what the novel is actually about, and it's quite an interesting read. I think it's for all ages, for everyone can read, but it's a bit lengthy for children. So I would advise that it should be it should be abridged. There should be an abridged version for the children, because kids nowadays need to know how to confront their parents on certain needs of theirs. They need to know how to tell their parents, this is what I want, and make their parents see reason why they should. The novels can help them to learn how to go about this. And also for young adults, yes, it's very important for young adults, because they are going to become the future leaders. They are going to take over they are going to become the next parent they are going to become parents in the nearest future, have children of their own. So this novel would let them understand that there is a way you have to react with children. There's a way you have to treat children. You have to also learn to cater not just for their physical need, you cater for the psychological and emotional needs as well. So if you are going to divorce your partner, always consider how it won't affect the children negatively. You shouldn't think of yourself alone. If you as a wife or the husband wants to get a divorce from your partner, you should remember that if there are children involved, then you have to state at times clearly that the children would not be deprived of the love of either parent, either the father or the mother, because in the end of the day, it's creating unfulfilled or psychological imbalanced children. We are adults. That's what they turn into. They become imbalanced because they did not, in their childhood, they had a terrible experience which runs into their adulthood or affect them in the future. So the novel looks at the need to create a connection with the offspring, and also create a conversation with the children to help them actualize their dreams, push them towards what they want, not what we want to force on them or what we perceive is the best for them. Let them echo their own needs as well. Then we look at how we can create a kind of synergy between their own needs and ours, you know. Now, as for the parents, parents also have a lot to do, a huge role to play in the lives of the children. I know parents that there's virtually no parent that doesn't want the best for his or her child, and so when parents push the child towards a direction, we get to see that it is actually based on the fact that they feel that that's the best route or direction that the child can take. And that's why they are edging towards, because like in the case of Aditya, for instance, the parent wants him to become a doctor because they believe that it's a sustainable main occupation, that he can get rich from being a doctor, he can get money and sustain himself in the future. But they didn't think that being a plain engineer has any profitability for a man of his kind, so they didn't want him to become a plain engineer. But while we look at what benefits the children, we should also consider what they want for themselves. We can't force our children to marry someone that they don't want to get married to. So we have to look for that balance, strike an equilibrium between the child and the parents. So that is what this novel is. That's why it's important for parents to also read this novel, because there are a lot of eye-opening issues that they are going to be confronted with. On the structure of the novel, I think it is quite lengthy, and the novelists try to identify the major ills in society and how so many people are affected by it, by bringing in examples of each character's life, and that makes it a bit lengthy. But the gains from the novel are quite more than the length. So I wouldn't bother about the length if I were you, and quite right, I'm used to reading lengthy novels, so it's not an issue at all. I quite enjoyed it, and I urge you to also get a copy too. You can get a copy on Goodreads or Amazon, or Read Discovery. You can get there too. So look at it. For the full copy of this review, you can check my website, which is literaturescorner.blogspot.com. You are going to get the full review of this novel there. So thank you very much. I shall be back. But meanwhile, what are you reading? What have you been reading yourself? Don't tell me you've been sitting down at home all this while there's lockdown at home and doing nothing. What book have you been reading? Tell me, and just write the title of the book in the comment section. I'll be expecting to see that. All right, see you next time then. Take care.